We believe your marriage can thrive regardless of how many years you've been together. So let's talk about one way to help make that hope a reality.
Last week, we talked about an alarming and sad trend of gray divorce that finds more and more couples splitting up in their 50s and 60s after many years of marriage. We're both in our 60s. Our 40th anniversary is coming up. And despite a challenging 2020, that was really challenging, our marriage is still going strong, if not stronger, because we've learned to lean on each other during this time and appreciate the oneness we share.
We've learned to keep our connection and intimacy alive by changing our marriage frame. Our model for marriage is Christ and the church. And to do that, we've had to learn to ask some different questions than we might naturally ask. For example, you might be tempted to ask, what's in it for me? What's my part? Keeping score, those kinds of things. But instead, a different question you can ask is, how can I bless my spouse?
That's a great question. Well, another temptation is to ask, well, what about my rights? What about me?
Yeah, it's all about my rights. What am I due, right? What am I owed?
Right. Instead of asking that, a better question to ask is, what's the right thing for our marriage and for my spouse? So we think of our marriage as something that we want to protect and build. So what's best for that? What's the right thing for that? Remember, it's also not so much about being right as it is about being love.
Another one, you might ask a question, what will advance my case? What will advance my cause?
Because you usually are building a case
You're
for
almost
your
always
cause.
building a case for your cause. But instead, a different question you can ask is, what will enhance my marriage?
And build your marriage instead of your case.
Yeah.
And when you're tempted to ask, what will I get out of this? What am I going to get out of this? We could ask instead, what can I be generous about in this situation? What can I give? And usually what I end up doing is I end up asking the Lord, what do you say about this? And often his answer is, why don't you give instead of look out for what you can get?
So we have a real practical thing in our marriage that we've had to kind of figure out and how to bless each other about. So we have different kind of key ministries over the years. Jenni's been working with children for many, many years, and I've been working on marriage for many years. And we've had times when one or the other has had to kind of lay their thing aside for a bit to support the other one in their ministry. And we've both done that for each other as the Lord has guided, and he's blessed both ridiculously. So just think about, how can I be generous rather than how can I protect what's mine?
Because when Scott was playing guitar for a room full of kids or letting me go traveling around the world doing ministry, then now look where we are now. I'm sitting next to him doing a YouTube video about marriage.
So rather than asking the question, how can I win this argument when you have a disagreement or a disconnect? Think about instead, ask yourself, how can we stay connected during this discussion?
Yeah.
If the goal of a discussion, call it an argument, disagreement, whatever.
Disconnect.
If the goal is to maintain your connection instead of proving yourself right, then you both win.
That's right. It's true. And when things aren't going well, take the risk of going first and reaching across to reconnect. It may feel like I'm always the one that has to pursue us connecting. Doesn't matter. Just get connected.
Yeah, do what it takes, right?
Yeah, do what it takes. And sometimes I'll even say, I'm trying to connect with you before Scott realizes that he doesn't realize what's going on.
So our example in this is Jesus and the way he loves. He goes first. He went first. The Bible says we love because he first loved us. So challenge yourself to reframe your thinking away from yourself and put your spouse and marriage first. And dare to ask yourself those different questions.
It'll pay off.